Now to help us look at this business of technology, we're joined by John Reid, head of the Canadian Advanced Technology Alliance of Canada, CATA. Good to have you back again, John.
Good to see you again.
Well, let me start with our special focus tonight is on online shopping. 'Tis the season for online shopping over the next few weeks. About half of all online shopping for the year will be done. You recently had a survey about Canadian companies not doing enough, perhaps, to really make sure their websites are consumer-friendly and security-friendly.
Well, I'm concerned about this because obviously you're going to go online to buy my present.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that the Canadians are competitive. Very interesting business online. I don't know whether you knew that the first online purchase was in 1984 at Tesco. There was no broadband back then. Lots of things have changed. $150 billion worth of sales, 6% of all retail is online. So you better figure out how to do it efficiently. And in Canada, as in many areas, we're lagging behind with the online stores, with some of the practices, and particularly with security. People are a little more conservative and a little more risk adverse in Canada, and that's something we have to address through education.
Well, if Canadian companies need to do that better, do we need to do a better job of attracting investment? You just launched a campaign this weekend to say the Canadian government has put in a set of rules that are, in your view, going to stop American investment from coming into Canada. How serious is it?
It's quite serious. Canadian companies are forced to compete with 1/3 of the venture capital. Yet at the border, because of a tax law, we're creating a nightmare of red tape for VCs that want to invest in Canada. It can take anywhere from 4 months to a year to get clearance certificates. Australia, England, the US all have different rules. Yet in Canada, we're putting a barrier at the border to venture capital. These are cash-starved companies in areas from instrumentation to clean tech. So it's a very simple fix, but again, we sort of hang back in Canada and we don't really deal with these issues in an efficient way. Big issue, easy fix, but the industry's hurting.
And at this point, is anybody listening at government? Or is that why you kicked off the campaign? Because they're not listening.
Well, this is why we kicked off the campaign. And really, this is something we hope that's resolved in the very short term. It really is an issue of phraseology. It requires finance to pay attention, make the change, put us on an equal basis to what happens in the U.S., and let that cash flow over the border.
Dragonwave is one of these Canadian companies that is being held up as the huge success story. It's in a hot space, wireless. They were named this week as a company of the year in the capital region. Are they a good reflection of how hot wireless is?
Well, I think so. I've actually seen their CEO next week. You know, we're the champion of innovation nation, and you really need the next generation of leaders, the next brand. So if I was to look at Canada's innovation nation, what it's going to look like 5 years from now, I would think Dragonwave would be part of that fabric, would be part of the messaging. And that's what we have to do. We have to look forward and create a new brand with the new leaders and the new product successes.
If wireless is such a hot space, why do we end up with Rogers laying off 3% of its workforce? Their primary business is wireless.
Well, key word, streamline. Every company now is streamlining. And in the case of Rogers, you're really bringing together the two divisions into one to create efficiency, a lot more competition. You've got Win Mobile, you've got Dave Wireless, you've got a whole set of things happening, including the competition from TELUS and Bell. So, you know, it's better to get ready now. It's a lot of jobless growth in the high-tech sector. It's still a lot of contraction, but in the end, you have to be efficient. So, you know, I understand their rationale, but it must be pretty confusing to the general public when they see these things.
Okay, John Reid of CATA, thanks very much for your time and your insight.
Pleasure.